I would have taped you to a lunch lady.
You don't talk to him that way.
Heads up! Don't hurt yourself, big boy.
The movie begins in 1989. Mike O'Donnell, a 17-year-old high school basketball star, practices alone in the gym. Coach Murphy enters and reminds him to take it easy. A scout is attending tonight's game, and Mike is a top prospect for a scholarship. Before the team photo, Mike insists on waiting for Ned, the Wada boy, despite the other players mocking him. Ned arrives in a wizard robe, drawing laughter, but Mike supports him. As they pose for the photo, one of the jocks gives Ned a wedgie, making him jump as the photo snaps. Later, the cheerleaders perform, and Mike hypes up the crowd with energetic dance moves. He sees his girlfriend, Scarlett, cheering from the bleachers. He runs over and shares how important the game is for his future. She looks troubled. He presses her until she reveals she's pregnant. Distracted by the news, Mike starts the game in a daze. He barely moves on the court, dribbling absent-mindedly. Everyone watches in confusion. Then, spotting Scarlett leaving, he tosses the ball over his shoulder and runs after her. The scout closes his notebook as Mike walks away from his future. Mike catches up to Scarlett and tells her the baby is his future now. He kisses her, sealing his decision to walk away from basketball and towards a new life. 20 years later, Mike is a 37-year-old man living with his best friend Ned, now a wealthy, eccentric tech millionaire. Mike has been kicked out by Scarlett, and his kids, Maggie and Alex, want little to do with him. Over breakfast, Ned tries to find the silver lining, but Mike is disheartened. At Wyatt Pharmaceuticals, Mike expects a promotion. During a meeting, the boss announces that the position goes to a younger, newer employee. Mike is shocked and humiliated. He confronts his boss, who brushes him off. In frustration, Mike smashes the man's Bluetooth earpiece and walks out. Defeated, Mike visits his old high school. He stares at the empty basketball court and later finds the old team photo. A janitor notices him and comments that people like Mike often come back to relive the past. He asks if Mike wants a do-over. Mike, full of regret, says yes. The janitor smiles and disappears. The next day, Mike picks up Maggie and Alex for ice cream, but the outing is tense. The kids ignore him. He tries to connect, asking about basketball and college, but they remain distant. At home, Mike sees Scarlett throwing his belongings into a wood chipper. She says she's redesigning the yard. They argue. Scarlett accuses Mike of blaming her for everything wrong in his life. Mike says he never asked her to marry him. She reminds him that she didn't force him, he proposed. She ends the conversation, saying they're finally free of holding each other back. It begins to rain as Mike drives away. The radio flickers strangely. On a bridge, he sees the janitor standing on the edge. Mike runs to stop him, but the man vanishes. Mike looks down and sees a whirlpool and his younger self reaching up. He slips and falls in. Mike wakes up drenched and muddy. He goes to Ned's house, heads to the shower, and then looks in the mirror. He screams. He's back in the body of his 17-year-old self. Ned, alarmed by the scream, barges in wearing a Spartan helmet and wielding a battle axe. Thinking Mike is an intruder, he attacks. The two scuffle, with Mike trying to explain who he is. Mike uses his younger agility to defend himself until he finally proves his identity by referencing personal memories. Still skeptical, Ned prepares to knock Mike out with a picture frame. But when he notices their old graduation photo from 1989, it clicks. The resemblance is undeniable. He realizes this young man is truly his old friend. Trying to make sense of the transformation, Ned proposes a theory from his knowledge of sci-fi and fantasy. He believes Mike has undergone a spirit guide transformation meant to help him fix his life. Mike concludes that the janitor must be his spirit guide. Wearing Mike's oversized old suit, the now teenage Mike returns to Hayden High School. He searches for the janitor, asking students and staff. A female janitor tells him she's the only one who works there. Confused, Mike notices Alex walking down the hallway and tries to speak to him, but Alex avoids him. As Mike walks the halls, he sees lights flickering. He follows a puddle of water to a mop bucket left outside the gym. He peeks in and sees the basketball court, a powerful symbol of his former life. Excited, he rushes back to Ned and announces his plan. He's going back to high school to redo everything. Ned thinks it's absurd, but is eventually convinced to help, especially when he finds out the school principal is a beautiful woman named Jane Masterson. Pretending to be Mike's father, Ned takes Mike to enroll under a new name, Mark Gold. At the principal's office, Ned is instantly smitten and starts awkwardly flirting with her. Mike is mortified. Jane is impressed with Mark's transcripts and accepts him into the school. Later, as they walk through the halls, students laugh at Mike's outdated outfit, inspired by Kevin Federline. Ned insists on taking him shopping to avoid further humiliation. The next day, Mike arrives in style, dressed well, and driving a Ferrari. He makes an impression as he walks into the building, attracting attention from students. In class, Mike receives a call from Scarlett. He's late for their divorce hearing. He lies and says he's in Peru, but the cheerleaders in the background blow his cover. Scarlett puts him on speakerphone so the courtroom can hear. He tries to sound sincere and says he's close to the kids, closer than she thinks. Later in gym class, Mike realizes he still has his basketball skills. He's thrilled with how strong and energetic he feels. Coach Murphy, now older, encourages him to try out for the team. In the bathroom afterward, Mike calls Ned with the good news. Then, he discovers Alex duct taped to a toilet. Shocked, he learns that the basketball team did it. Mike introduces himself as Mark Gold and helps free him. They head to lunch together. Mike encourages Alex to stand up for himself. Alex is interested in a girl named Nicole, the head cheerleader. Mike offers him advice. Suddenly, the basketball team, led by Stan, enters the cafeteria. Stan is the same one who bullied Alex and, shockingly, is dating Maggie. Mike is disturbed. When Stan starts picking on Alex again, Mike intervenes. Using his maturity, he gives a speech about bullying and humiliates Stan with his dribbling skills. The cafeteria cheers. Back at Ned's, Mike eats a strange sandwich and reflects on what he's seen. His son is bullied, and his daughter is dating a jerk. He realizes that his true mission is to help his children, not to relive his own youth. Later, Mike visits Scarlett's house. He sees Alex playing basketball alone in the yard and notices that he has genuine talent. Mike realizes Alex deserves to be on the school team. Just then, Scarlett and her friend Naomi arrive. Alex introduces Mike as Mark, Ned's bastard. Scarlett is startled by how much Mark resembles her ex-husband at 17. She touches his face, clearly affected. Naomi, suspicious and pushy, encourages Scarlett to date again. Mike, irritated, throws a basketball at Naomi but immediately apologizes and warns her about trying to set up a married woman. The next day at school, Mike walks into class and finds Maggie and Stan kissing. He interrupts them awkwardly and takes a seat. The teacher begins a lesson on abstinence. Mike jumps in and strongly supports the idea, encouraging everyone to make a pact. The class laughs, but Mike continues. He explains that love and sex should be meaningful and reserved for marriage. He speaks about the deep love a parent feels when holding their child for the first time. The girls are visibly moved, and some start returning the condoms the teacher handed out. Stan mocks him, grabs more condoms, and forcibly kisses Maggie. Mike, furious, lunges at Stan, starting a fight. Stan gets the better of him, and the students record the scuffle on their phones. The video spreads quickly through the school. Mike is summoned to the principal's office. Ned arrives, dressed in an over-the-top outfit to impress Jane. He attempts more awkward flirting, but Jane remains unimpressed. Later, Mike visits Scarlett's home again. She's working on landscaping in the backyard. He calls her Scar without thinking. She notices. Mike offers to help with the project. As time passes, Mike helps train Alex for basketball and supports Scarlett's garden project. He also tries to steer Maggie away from Stan. Meanwhile, Ned continues pursuing Jane, trying various ways to win her over. After basketball tryouts, both Mike and Alex make the team. Scarlett is thrilled when she hears the news. She shows Mike and the kids her completed backyard. Mike compliments her work and encourages her to start a business. She's touched. That evening, Scarlett tells Mike she has a date. He's clearly disappointed. She practices dancing in front of a mirror, and Mike asks to join. They dance together. It's a warm moment. He asks if she thinks she and her husband might reconcile. She gently says no. They're interrupted when Alex enters and says her date has arrived. It's Mike's former boss, Dean. Mike is stunned and angry. Dean doesn't recognize him. Scarlett leaves with Dean. Soon after, Stan arrives to pick up Maggie for a party. Mike, suspicious, grabs Alex and follows them to a bowling alley. At the bowling alley, Maggie and Stan are hanging out with a group of friends. Mike and Alex enter quietly. Mike encourages Alex to approach Nicole, the cheerleader he likes. Alex is nervous, but Mike gives him a confidence boost. Alex begins talking to Nicole and it seems to go well. Meanwhile, Mike notices Stan being rough and disrespectful toward Maggie. When Stan starts pushing Alex again, Mike intervenes. He confronts Stan and warns him to stay away from his sister. Back at Ned's house, Mike throws a party to celebrate the basketball team's win. Ned, still pursuing Jane, invites her to the party with expensive decorations and extravagant food to impress her. During the party, Scarlett shows up unexpectedly. She sees the celebration and watches Mike interact with the kids, noticing how much he's helped them. Mike shows her how Alex finally got together with Nicole. They have a heartfelt conversation, and Mike, caught in the moment, tries to kiss her. Scarlett pulls away, disgusted and confused. Mike tries to explain, but she storms out, disturbed by how much this teenage boy reminds her of her husband. Later that night, Maggie approaches Mike in a bedroom. She flirts with him and tries to seduce him, unaware of his real identity. Shocked, Mike quickly tells her he's in love with someone else and refuses her advances. Maggie is embarrassed and leaves the room. The next day, Mike is devastated. He's failed to explain his identity and fears he may have ruined things with Scarlett permanently. He returns to the school, preparing for the championship game. During the game, Mike and Alex play together, showing great teamwork. The crowd cheers as they dominate the court. Scarlett watches from the bleachers, clearly moved by Mike's behavior and his bond with Alex. Then, just as in 1989, Mike makes a choice. He sees Scarlett walking away. This time, he passes the ball to Alex and runs after her. In that moment, he transforms back into his 37-year-old self. Scarlett turns around and sees the man she once loved, not a teenage boy, but her husband. They embrace, and the past is finally reconciled. Some time later, Mike becomes the new basketball coach at his children's high school. Ned, now dating Principal Jane, gives him a whistle as a gift. Both men are content, Mike with a new purpose, and Ned with a chance at real love.